Every week I publish 14 short videos, 2 long form videos, and a weekly newsletter. And I work a full 9 to 5. I sleep 7 hours at night, and I spend about 5 hours every week on all of it. And this is the system. A bunch of crons running in OpenClaw, my content hub in Notion, and my command center. So what you see here is actual scripts, but none of this fills itself. Something has to know what to write, and that's where crons come in. And if you can see the screen here, you're gonna see the terminal. You see a whole bunch of different crons coming in here, which are sub agents that get to work. I have maybe give or take 40 plus crons. I started initially with over 100, scaled back down because it was just too complex. And then I started learning how to create them just one stack at a time. And then once I started combining them, building this little workflow, one cron will do one job, drop it somewhere, the next cron will read it, work from that, and then do the next job. So going back to this Notion dashboard here, it's simple database. One cron comes up with ideas, dumps them in here, and eventually puts some context that will eventually another cron will use to create the headline and the script for my shorts. And the same process follows for long form video. Different, but the point is one cron does the research and then one cron actually does the writing. So think of it like this. If you had a writer, if you were creating blog articles, you would have someone do the research, create the writing brief for the article, like an outline. You will pass it to the writer. The writer will then take that and understand what to do with it because it's detailed enough to just write. And that's what it will do. And as you can see here is a shorts pipeline. So you have multiple sources that feed it. So if the short strategy gets data from news, other sources, and it makes strategy. It looks at the analytics and says, Chris, you've been performing well with these topics. Let's generate more of these. This is trending in the news, maybe consider talking about it. And so it creates a list of 14 topics for the week, knowing what we posted last week so we don't post the same stuff, and then creates 14 fresh topics and then drops them back into Notion. Saturday comes, the script agent looks at the content hub, sees a topic, opens it up and says, okay, this is the context, because that's his only job, to just generate scripts. But from it's not just going to generate a random script. It's going to look at the context in here that's dropped in Notion. And then when it's done, it creates a headline, creates a script, formats it like this, and we're good to go. But you notice a few things. It just generates a script. There's a TikTok caption, YouTube description. So what generates this? Another cron does that. And you can see it from here because there's a caption generator cron. It looks at the script and it says, okay, I know what the script is about or the topic. And then it uses that to generate a YouTube description and TikTok captions. And then I come in here and I record. So my job on Mondays is to open Notion, the content hub, filter by the not started or draft generated status and by shorts, and I'm just good to go. I record and then I edit them and then I'm basically schedule them. Now I'm even refining this, so eventually I don't have to spend too much time editing because I've already built a process within Claude Code that helps me edit, because editing used to suck up my time. And so I could only do 7 at a time. Now I'm doing 14 because a lot of the editing is already pre-done with Claude Code, and eventually I'll just hand it off to my agent to do the same thing here. And then for long form, same process, just different sources like VidIQ we use for long form to understand what keywords to target and process. But the point is, you strategize, you generate scripts, and then you work off of Notion. All right, so scripts write themselves on Saturday. The brief hits daily. But the one pipeline that really surprised me is what I call the newsletter machine. So if I go back to this example that was shown earlier, same process. We need to strategize what topics. A lot of the strategy is getting fed from the same sources. So if a tweet is exploding or a news topic is popping, that's what the strategy cron is going to know. It's also going to look at previous analytics from MailerLite, and then it uses that to strategize. What topics are we going to talk about this week? What has the most click-through rate? What topics tend to resonate? That's what this does right here. Then it tells me like 3 topics or a few topics. I choose the one that I want, and then it gets to work. And so I send my newsletters on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and this helps me do it. Is it 100% hands off? Of course not. I still have to review it. It's not just running on autopilot. I still have to choose the topic. I still have to make some edits. It's not 100%, but it gets me like 80, 90% there, and it saves me a lot of time. But the cool part is I'm not even paying attention to this. It has API access. It can access it really quick. It has the information stored in our own internal database, and it was just over time, we just keep enriching it every single week. And the video or the newsletter strategist just makes more informed decisions than honestly I would have. If I was juggling all of this, but this is a great way I can finally be consistent and improve over time. So this is all that's coming out, right? The newsletter. I didn't show you long form, but long form is very similar to short, like the process. So it's pretty much the same thing. I just used a different template. But what's also cool is what feeds it. So it could be definitely going to be analytics from my own data. So if it's for shorts, for example, we look at YouTube Shorts analytics. And if it's long form, same thing. And again, email newsletter, we look at email analytics. And one thing that we do generate every day is what I call the morning brief and news. Think of it like news in my space. I like to get a broad landscape so I understand how everything is impacting, not just AI, but just myself. And so this actually helps me because for the first time I can actually connect the dots and create shorts on trends that I would have never caught before because I would have not been watching the news. But at the same time, it's a great way to get content ideas if something stands out, because over time we can see patterns. If certain things are happening, we can start using that to predict certain things or just find unique angles for content. I even have another source from Reddit, and we do something similar. We just create multiple subreddits, and as you can see here, we're seeing what people are saying, what's trending. And again, all of this gets funneled for multiple reasons. We can use this to understand the language of my audience. We can use this to create new topic ideas. If we start seeing that certain stuff is popping in a week, that will be recommended for a short and or a long form video. If a newsletter topic is popping or popped last week, we could potentially create a YouTube video for that as well. It's cool that we can get a lot of data from different sources and we can just generate very cool topics now. It's no longer generic. It's no longer looking at just keyword research. It's just all these different elements combined on top of analytics, and we just have this flywheel that over time, the hope is that it gets better and better because we just see what works. We test different things, we find new angles. And so that's pretty much my whole system. 40 tasks on one single Mac Mini and one Notion database and 5 hours a week from me. And I build this for clients too. So if you're someone that wants to build your own AI and autopilot, links in the description. And I put together 15 of my best prompts. Feel free to also look for that in my description. So hopefully this video was helpful and hopefully inspired you to build even better workflows or just to do something similar or different. Thanks for watching.